Good morning. My name is Shelva Jackson, and I'm from Crosby, Texas. January 2017 was the date that, the month and the year that I sent my son Loyal to Masters Ranch. I, I'm just driving in from Texas, had the letter that I wanted to read to you, and I'll send it to you later, of the letter that he wrote to me, and I thought he was acting out. Being that I retired from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice as a licensed chemical dependency counselor, I felt like I was doing the right thing. I couldn't help my son. One of the things that I asked about, being that I worked for the penitentiary system, was that, what about sexual acting out? What I was told by Teresa Bosley was, how big is your son? I was asked that. How big is your son? I said, he's a football player. And she's like, okay, would you send a picture to me so I could see him? I sent her a picture, and she calls me back, and she says, your son doesn't have to worry about being molested. You know, there is sexual acting out. He's a pretty big boy. Sexual activities wouldn't happen unless he wanted. So I thought about it, and I'm like, my son did something, and I don't think that he warranted me to send him there. It wasn't that bad when I think about it right now, opposed to the things that he told me, that they beat boys, that a kid was molested in June 2017, and then the next day he says, Mom, Pastor Bosley says that he's taking care of everything. The older kid has been sent away, and the younger kid has been sent to another house, and they separated the boys from BB to KK. On the way driving here and seeing those highways that said BB, KK, VV, it made me sick. I trusted in David Bosley and Teresa Bosley and their program. I quit my job, sold everything that I had, put everything in storage. They moved me from Texas to Couch, Missouri. Twice they moved me. Shelva, if anything doesn't work out, we'll make sure you get back. But my son was supposed to come back with me to stay on Masters Ranch. And he says, no, Mom, you go. He said, I want you to see what I've been through. So I was like, if you don't get your life right, you're going to go to prison. You're going to do this. He said, if I could withstand Masters Ranch, I could withstand anything. I was there 7 days, and I look at the fact that God created this earth in 7 days. In 7 days, I was there at Masters Ranch. I saw a child be bullied, get his arm dislocated, them telling him, suck it up, buttercup, and then get him in an ambulance. You got to call David Bosley first before you call an ambulance to this 11-year-old child that I told you was being bullied by this other kid. 2 days prior to that, they were playing with slingshots. I come from the penitentiary setting, so everything is a weapon. This is a weapon if you want it to be. Kids had slingshots, was in the barn, shooting a nail. The nail ricocheted and hit the child in the eye. For 2 days, that child cried on the couch, begging for somebody to help him. Kids were taunting him, oh, punk, bag, this. You're just acting like a baby, and your mom just calls over here and starts all this trouble. The child laid there for 2 days. When they finally took the child to the emergency room, he had to come back the next day for emergency surgery because he had a torn cornea. I got pictures. When they started seeing that I was taking pictures and making notes and making videos, I'm going to record everything you're doing because what you're doing is inhumane to kids. Kids putting people down in restraints, having their knees down in their back. I got pictures of that. Kids being bitten by flies. Not only that, I paid $42,000 for my son to go here. My son and other kids that I witnessed defecates in the barn because they are not allowed to go up the house to use the bathroom during the day because there's not enough staff to watch them, and one of them might decide to kill themselves, or one of them might decide to kill staff. That's the rule. We go out fishing, come back fishing with buckets of, buckets of fish. And I'm like, how are we going to clean this? They run in the house. My little boy, the one that got the arm dislocated, he runs in the house and come back with about 10 knives. Where'd they do that? But I paid $42,000 to send my son to a trained detention center when I should have left him at home and got it for free. I'm asking you, I have driven all night long. My son, I said, would you want to go? He says, Mom, do what you want to do. He says, I'm sick of this. That's all we talk about. Tell me, Loyal, what they do. Tell me what happened. But I saw it for myself. No kid. They need to be, man. I've written everybody. I've written CPS. I've written everybody. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start my own website. And it's www.deersdream.com. And it's about Masters Ranch and every other ranch that have kids there that make people think that you can't help your child. There are no behavioral modifications. There are no type of didactics for these kids. What are you teaching them? You use my son as a slave and every other kid there for your benefit. Your car, your house, your peacocks, your longhorns, everything is yours. Where are the horses that's so fabricated at this place? You told me I was paying $42,000 for a working ranch. My son has lost scholarships. He's 19 years old. He went back to Texas with 3 credits. And every day I fight for him not to give up because I refuse for him to be a statistic. And let David Bosley and Masters Ranch or any of these places get away with hurting kids, because I have been hurt. I know what it's like to be sexually abused and be hurt by people you trust. Hurt people. And if you don't stop it, if nothing changes, nothing's going to ever change, and you're going to have recidivism everywhere. That's all I got to say. Do something, please.
Thank you for being here. Can I ask you? No, please. Can you sit down? I have a question for you. If you're able to. You're the first parent who's been able to come and testify. And
when I see my son hurt every day.
I know.
All of his friends got scholarships for football this year, and he's 19. He'll be 19, and David promised him for weeks, I'm going to come see you play. My son don't have a father. Waiting for David on that sideline for him to see David so David can see him score that touchdown for P-Dog. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate you being here. You have a corrections background, and you made a decision to send him to a school here in the state of Missouri rather than in Texas. And I just was going to ask you, what kind of research was available? Did you have any ability to find any of this information?
It was cost.
Okay.
It was the cheapest that I could afford.
Yeah.
$42,000 was what I could afford. Texas, he had to be awarded of the state for Texas to be able to take him into a program. Missouri, it's any willy-nilly. Just drop him off.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did that.
I appreciate so much your willingness to be here and to testify, and I'm not asking that to cast in any way any judgment on that. I think that people get to a point where they don't know what to do, and they think they're reaching out to those who can help them. And so I want to thank you for your willingness to be here to testify and for advocacy on your behalf of your son.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for this witness, Representative?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, to inquire. Thank you for your courage in coming here and telling your son's story and telling your story. It is very unique that you are a parent who has that experience. The other stories we've heard have been from the children themselves. So I just, it just shocks me that this place is still open.
And
Masters Ranch.
They got a new school. They've been shut down in Washington. They can't do it in Washington anymore, but they have a new girls' school now. And it needs to be shut down. David has a fetish with guns. It's...
And they're located in Couch, Missouri. Do you know what part of the state that's in?
It's Thayer. There's Thayer, Couch, and Myrtle. They have two ranches. I don't know where the girls' ranch is, but One of them is in Couch, and that's the KK Ranch, and the BB Ranch is in Myrtle,
Okay.
Missouri.
And you mentioned that your son has been basically denied all kinds of different opportunities because of the experience he's had to go through there.
Yes, sir. And see, when he was 2 years old, how we had the money for him to go, he lost 3 fingers off of his hand. He's an extraordinary kid with promising abilities. And we gave it to David. So.
And just last question, is there any kind of a network of other parents of survivors?
I just met with a child that and his mother. I met with them for lunch yesterday. The child was going to come. He's 15 years old. She actually went there in November and stole him back. And he's in Houston now. And I met with him, and he wanted to come, but he was afraid that David Bosley might be here and that David would probably try to steal him back. He's 15. I have other parents that gone through the same thing. They hate God. My son won't go to church. My son keeps in contact with a few of the boys. This is the trickery. David has even tried calling my son to tell my son that the reason why he didn't help me get back on my feet when I went home was because I vandalized the house. And my son was like, my mom did not do that. I compare it to, and it's in on my website, David Koresh Waco, the Branch Davidians.
What is your website again?
www.dearsdream.com. DEARS Dream, DREAM. And my dream is to make sure that every child is treated dearly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for this witness? Seeing none, would the next witness in support please come forward to testify?